Brush against those freckles that I hate, so life goes on, and heave a little sigh for you. It's heavy, the love that I would share with you, then it dissolved like it was just a sugar cube. Hey guys, welcome back to the Bucket Think Tank for another round of comic chat. Did anyone else see Rurouni Kenshin? Like the first episode that came out on Crunchyroll? Really great, really fun. But anyway, we are not here for that. If you'd like, we probably could, but we're not ready yet, either way. So we got 3 books today. We are a bit behind. We had a really fun video that we did, just came out of nowhere. We had to do it, and work has been... Yeah, anyway, enough of that. So, our first book is Adventures of Superman, Jon Kent. Blood and Steel. I'm like, oh, okay, alright. This is weird. We call it the Injustice Saga. I don't know why I've just now seen that. But, yeah, so, anyway. So, Jon meets with the insurgency, and they find out, discuss the events of 5 years ago, aka the event that led to all this happening in the Injustice universe, aka Superman finding out Lois Lane is pregnant, Joker kidnapping Lois Lane, injecting Superman with a cocktail of kryptonite and fear toxin, making Superman think that Lois was Doomsday. He punched her up into space, killing her, and by default his unborn child, and then Metropolis blows up. It's just a perfect storm of Superman becoming a fascist dictator, alright? And also, on a tangent, I never quite understood when Grant Morrison did that whole, like, I don't quite get the whole evil thing with Superman, like, his wife dies and he becomes evil. Look, my parents died, I become a fascist dictator. Well, Grant, you aren't Superman. I don't also, like, your parents, I don't know how Grant's parents died, but I highly doubt he was tricked into killing his parents. Presumably with his unborn sibling. Well, their unborn sibling. My mistake. So I don't quite get that comparison. I sort of get it, but anyway, we're going off on a tangent. So that's what happened, and Jon's like, alright, this man is wrong, Superman is wrong. So, and he pretty much goes about that, you know what, yeah, so I get what he's doing, and I get what he's going through, but this is not the right way to do it, so he has to be stopped. And it was like, oh, you sound a lot like Lois. I'm like, okay, alright. And Bruce makes a statement like, Clark fought for truth, Lois lived it. The idea really being that Lois was the best part of Superman. So, yeah, there you go. And then Jon decides to make the dumbest decision here. He's like, well, I don't quite want to fight, but I want to stop him. Like, I don't... But anyway, really, I think the best part about this whole thing is Harley coming in and apologizing. Because while this isn't the actual child that Clark and Lois would have had, this is essentially what she took from Superman, which she joined up when she helped Joker. Now, to me, the weirdest thing about Injustice is the fact that no one really brings that up. And the fact that Superman never brings up the fact that Harley played a role in this. No one really says, Harley, this is your fault. And we're going, well, it was Joker's fault. But she helped. She helped. Not even like, say the idea that Scarecrow sold the fear toxin to Joker. He plays a role, but not in the same way that Harley did. Like, to my knowledge, it's been a while since I've read Injustice, Harley is never put to task by anybody for the role she played in that. It's just sort of accepted that she has to. And I don't even think Harley mentions it. She may have, like, I have to make this right. But Jon is sort of right. You still stood with the Joker. And Harley's in this position where, I need to apologize. I never get to apologize to the people I've hurt because, they tend to be dead. And I don't know. I feel like Injustice made a mistake by not having a more personal moment for Harley. There are some great moments for Harley, especially mentioning her daughter Lucy. But for the most part, it's kind of it. So, anyway. It's weird to me that Jon's like, I'm not going to fight. But everyone here needs to do better. This is, once again, I think the worst part of Jon Kent since he's been aged up. Everyone has to do better, but he will not really do anything. It's sort of weird, because he's got this whole point of like, Dad, why don't you do more? I'm going to lecture people, for the most part. But anyway, this isn't about Jon Kent. It's about Jon Kent in the Injustice world. Then we cut to the Hall of Justice, although it hasn't been a Hall of Justice since this whole thing started. And Damian reveals that, hey, I've apprehended Jay Nakamura, alright? And Superman's like, who is this? I don't know who Jay Nakamura is. What did he do? He talked to your son. Well, okay. And he spread talk of whatnot. Damian is effectively being the propaganda minister, the Joseph Goebbels for Superman. But it's also, I think, a great deal of projection, because if you really think of where Damian is, his dad is still mad at him for not only siding with Superman, but also for, accidentally killing Dick Grayson. So even when they talked it through, it just didn't get better. And I'm pretty sure this all takes place after the events when Superman has Alfred killed. So to me, I think it just invalidates Damian to still side with Superman if he's going to have someone like Alfred killed. But anyway, the whole thing is Damian needs a dad figure. Alright? So he's trying to get Superman to do it. And he points out that, hey, there's still a tracer on him, and I'm pretty sure I know where he is. So, anyway, they start talking about, hey, the plan, what they gotta do, and ultimately, they're gonna use the technology Val-Zod had to weaken Kryptonians to use on Superman. So, okay, we got a plan. They're gonna use super pills to help even it out. Harley points out, well, he can still punch us into space. I'm like, Harley, it's been 5 years and he hasn't done that. Alright, it's not gonna happen. But, either way, it all goes to pot. Because as Batman, think about, why didn't I think of pulling a Superman from another multiverse, from another Earth? Which he kind of does anyway, so it's weird. But anyway, they get a signal. Oh no, the regime is here. And yeah, it all goes to pot. Superman burns the pills. Selina's killed. I'm like, oh wow, this is wild. Jon, meanwhile, has already decided to go off to sort of like, get in the right headspace. So Jon was appropriately not here for this. He goes into Fortress of Solitude, luckily because he shares DNA with Superman. The security system doesn't go off. He activates a message he got from Lois, which is really just Lois talking about how great and special Jon is. Because, this entire book doesn't already do that. She talks about how brave she thinks Jon is for going to face his abuser, aka Val-Zod. Which, this book was about. Not Val-Zod, good lord. Ultraman. Why do I keep calling him Val-Zod? Because I still do not care about this story. About going to fight Ultraman, who held him prisoner on Earth 3. This really is an attempt to sort of amp up Jon's mercy. Because he's going to fight Ultraman not because of what he did to him, but to stop him from killing other Supermen. And to me, that really should have been the focus here. We should have seen Val-Zod... Not Val... Why do I keep... We should have seen Ultraman. Why do I keep blaming the black guy for this one? We should have seen Ultraman come face to face with Dictator Superman. I think that would have been so interesting to see him face what was probably the worst version of himself. And Ultraman's like, you're the worst version of me? In reality, the two of them are pretty much the same. In the fact that Ultraman and Superman impose their will through fear, through power, through their divine right. The fact that they are stronger, they rule the planet. Superman does with the idea it's better if we enforce our rules. Ultraman's like, look, I want to turn a profit, I want to rule the planet, because have you seen me? Alright? But anyway, Lois once again waxed poetically about how great Jon is, which I don't think has been proven, but whatever. She points I love you and come back to me. And then he's met by Ma and Pa Kent, the Ma and Pa Kent of the Injustice Earth, and they're like, hey, we don't get a lot of visitors down here ever since, the government kidnapped us that one time. And then Green Arrow accidentally shot Jon Kent, Pa Kent, and now Superman keeps us in here. And so they all have a conversation about, hey, what they should be doing, and Jon's like, look, I may have to stop your son, and they're like, look, that might be the only thing that's going to help him. And anyway, they find out that, hey, Superman here has already taken the entire insurgency, and you know what? To be fair, the best thing about this is Superman is holding Harley to account. Alright? So, that's great. That's how the story ends, and I don't... Yeah, so anyway, so this is issue 5. There's one issue left of this, and honestly, between this and Superman Lost, I kind of feel like I wish I dropped this one instead of Superman Lost. But really, the Injustice universe is still such an interesting universe to be in. Because it's like, what if the worst possible thing happens to the best person? And I know we're all tired of the evil Superman trope. I don't think we get it enough, but I think the problem is, it's just sort of thrown in the face. Interesting enough, this book does have Jon saying, I could see Batman becoming a fascist dictator. I don't think he gets that. The whole point is, Batman spends his entire life trying to not be that. Superman lives his life sort of really thinking, that's never going to be me. Alright? He spends so much time tiptoeing around his own power. And then you're like, I have to guide, I have to help. He doesn't really have to think that, hey, this could happen one day. He never lived that. Like, even when Pa Kent died, and what was it, Superman Last Son? I fought with Brainiac. That was a heart attack. That was really... Brainiac played no role in that. But when Joker killed Jason Todd, when Batman didn't kill Joker, he already told us this was not going to happen. Like, this really wasn't going to happen. That's why the Dark Multiverse is sort of hilariously tragic, because ultimately, the worst Batman will do is beat the son of people, because he's been so afraid of what he could become if he doesn't rein himself in. So, it makes sense. But someone like Superman, who doesn't really think like that, who has a very sort of, I'm just here, helping along, guiding, learning, he's never really thought of what that means. So like, what, I'm fed up with this, you've gone too far. It never really happens. But that's because he's had that upbringing. So here that's what makes it a bit more tragic. Like, Batman is the obvious, but at the same time not the obvious. It's sort of like Last Ronin, in the sense that Leonardo would not fall as far as Michelangelo did. Probably not Raphael. But Mikey, who was so laissez-faire in his own way, and so casual, when the stuff finally hits the fan, he would be the one to go off the deep end. At least something like that. So, yeah, it's not bad, but I really did want the Ultraman story. And I think Ultraman in the Injustice universe would have been so much more interesting. Because imagine for Superman if Ultraman has to stop him. But whatever. Being shamed by his not son, sure. His not son who still isn't sure if he wants to fight. Stupid. Next is a new one, Teen Titans by Mark Waid. It's interesting that Mark Waid, I think he spent less time on Twitter and more time writing comics, so he's more tolerable. Like, it's Mark Waid being Mark Waid. Good Mark Waid. But anyway, World's Finest Teen Titans. This is Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans set in modern era. Yeah. Throws off the entire timeline. But anyway. So, this starts off on a remote seaside cliff in Maine. Because, of course, it's Maine. It's where all of Stephen King's novels set for. So anyway, so we see a cult doing some stuff. And the reason I say some stuff, because it doesn't matter. This is the debut of the Teen Titans, Kid Flash. And why not name Speedy? Well, that's because Speedy is a name of Green Arrow's sidekick. We have Donna Troy and Aqualad, or Wonder Girl and Aqualad, and they're a couple. So, this is good. Then we have... a Bumblebee. We have Robin. It's all cool. And this is all being live streamed. The new teenage superheroes coming in, and it's being live streamed. I'm like, okay, weird. Robin does not like this idea of live streaming their heroics. He's also pointing out the legality issues. Like, you know what? Did those people consent to this? And luckily, Speedy's like, yeah, we got the consent forms. We got them to sign. I'm like, okay, fine, sure. And the whole point is they're trying to get their name out there, the brand out there. They've got someone on their social media side. So if you have problems like hashtag call Titans, and I'm like, okay, weird. I think it's more emblematic of the time, but whatever. So this is a new thing here. The Teen Titans have just recently formed, and their mentors are sort of like all over the place with it. Aquaman's happy. Aquaman's like, going out there, seeing new people and whatnot, not just people in Atlantis, but also the rest of the world, the surface world. Wonder Woman's so proud of Donna, like, going out here, putting the Themysciran ways and principles into practice on man's world, and Donna Troy likes the guy she's working with. Barry's really proud of Kid Flash. Batman's like, this is a bad idea, you shouldn't do this. He's like, look, they're my friends. I've never thought I'd hear Batman call them his friends, but they're okay. They're okay with it. But, I don't think it's a good idea. Alright? I just don't. Like, you know what? Look, Dick, I know you. I've trained you. I have faith in your training. I don't know what these people do. Alright? I don't trust them. Bumblebee seems to be talking with... I don't know who this is. His original name was Golden Eagle. And he's sort of retired from the superhero life, but he is the guy managing the social media. So, there we are. Everyone does sort of agree, like, you know what? You probably should be a bit wary of Robin. What's interesting about this whole thing is that while everyone seems to be having this interesting conversation with their mentors, the one who's really excited about this, Speedy, Green Arrow is not there. Green Arrow is not there. He's off doing something, despite the fact that Green Arrow has apparently funded all of this. He's given them the money for the tower, for the equipment, and everything. So I'm like, okay, so what? So Ollie's involved? Ollie's not even there to hear Roy out. So say what you want about Bruce. Everybody's like, yeah, we don't work with you. Like, he's still talking right there with Robin. Like, Dick, talk to me. No, it's a bad idea, but talk to me. And what's interesting is he's like, look, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think you should do it. But, fine. But, that's something... You, as the leader, their lives are in your hands. And in a lot of ways, Bruce is really trying to protect Dick from all this extra stuff. Like, in reality, no one has higher expectations for Dick Grayson, or even a bigger fan of Dick Grayson than Bruce, alright? He's pretty much said, like, look, and one day you're going to lead the Justice League. He's been grooming him for, like, all this other stuff. And what he doesn't want is, like, that's fine. It sucks. Put a lot of time and effort into this. But it's fine. It's fine. But anyway. So, meanwhile, on the Pensacola Beach in Florida, we deal with the separated man, and we see a problem with the team already, because Roy is already making sure that they are streaming this. So, I think, and it goes pretty well, excuse me, to be fair. But the problem is, it's sort of this unsettling nature, because Dick is trying to be very professional. Like, lives are on the line here. We shouldn't always be streaming everything. And streaming should not be the priority. Look, if we miss it, we miss it. Alright? But Roy seemed to be very set on being the showman. And it does work. But we do see this problem here. And, everyone's sort of enjoying it. Donna's definitely enjoying the attention. So is Kid Flash and Bumblebee. Aqualad doesn't quite get this. He might also be feeling some kind of way about all these dudes ogling his girlfriend. Dude is Donna Troy. Alright? You got her. She's your girl. And trust me, if anyone puts their hands on it, they're going to lose that hand. It's Donna Troy. She's got this. So now it comes to an issue of trust. Because Roy points out, hey, look, we know everybody's name here. Alright? I'm Roy. Alright? That's Wally, Garth, Karen, Donna. Alright? No one knows your name. Alright? So why don't we know it? And it's because Batman said, you don't give them your name. No, you don't. You stop it right there. Alright? Absolutely not. They don't know you. No. No, you're their leader. Be aloof. Alright? You haven't... Bruce does not trust people. Alright? And he sure as hell will not trust people with his surrogate son. So no, you don't tell him anything. Alright? So he goes off, and it leads to sort of like an argument is always building up on the surface. really we have the two polar opposites, which is Dick doesn't think they're taking it seriously enough, and Roy thinks that he's taking it too seriously. Also, that cape is so stupid. But anyway. So then we cut to a warehouse district outside of Metropolis, because of course it's outside of Metropolis. Some dude here is trying to sell his superpowers, like, trying to put his name out there. And he's like, he can affect probability a little sometimes, not win the lottery, but a little extra luck. And he kills him. Like, yeah, I disagree. It wasn't that great. And that's how this issue ends. Ultimately, I like this issue. I really don't like that collar. I really don't like the pop collar on Robin's costume. I get it. But either way, we are sort of betraying the whole idea. Because, for those of you that don't know, Dick Grayson and Jason Todd were the Robin that didn't wear the pants. The pants didn't come out till Tim Drake. It's been not a new thing recently, but whenever they rebrand or re-release the Teen Titans with Dick Grayson as Robin, he gets Tim Drake's costume, which is fine because, oh my God, put pants on them. It was a thing, and the whole point was, at the time, boys always wore shorts. Like, the coolest thing a boy could get was pants, and then when you were an adult, the coolest thing you can get is shorts. Now, we just, no, pants, shorts, it doesn't matter. But I do like this first issue. I do. This is what, Mark Waid's third book he's put out here? Because he's got the world's finest, Superman, Batman, Superman. He's got Shazam, which is fun. And now he's got this one. It's nice to see Mark Waid not being a terrible human being. And just writing books. Alright? This is what everyone needs to do. Alright? All those creators that have done really great work. J.K. Rowling just needs to write more Harry Potter. Alright? Alan Moore needs to write some more Watchmen. He'll never do it, but he needs to write some Watchmen. Just write a story of Watchmen totally contradicting the original Watchmen. Just do it. Just do it. Turns out Night Owl was the real enemy all along. Ozymandias was working for Night Owl. It works. Trust me, it'll work. Gail Simone needs to write Batgirl again. Greg Rucka needs to write Wonder Woman and stay on Wonder Woman. Seriously, hashtag save Wonder Woman. Why is Tom King writing Wonder Woman? Someone else. Whichever terrible person used to write really good stuff and then just decided to complain, just go back to doing what people liked you for and try to integrate your politics into that in a generic way. If you can't, just do this. Just do this. Okay, we're bitching enough. Alright, so our last one is a thorn in my side. It really is. I kind of don't like that this book exists, but we have to talk about it because it totally derailed DC Comics right now. Night Terror's First Blood by Joshua Williamson. So, first of all, I do love the art here. I believe, I don't remember the first name, but its last name's Porter. This art was really great in the Drowned Earth story for Justice League and Aquaman. It was really, really good. But anyway. So this story starts off with Dr. Destiny being attacked in his dreams by someone looking for the Nightmare Stone. Alright? And it's a really great scene here, how this great dream turns into this horrible nightmare where he's being attacked in. And he says, hey, look, when I get my dream stone, I'm going to put an end to this. And apparently this figure here is looking for the Nightmare Stone. And it all just sort of goes to pot from there. It's a really great horror feel to it. We see this painting of the Hall of Justice. And from the Hall of Justice comes these monstrified versions of the Justice League attacking him. And then we cut to sort of the present day with Deadman, who talks about this guy who lived to be 102 years old. And it's at his funeral, everyone's there, and he's had all this family and friends, and he juxtaposes this to his own death. No one was there for his death. No one was there for his funeral, his grave was just there alone. And he talks about his life going around, solving crimes, as a dead man, as a ghost. It's sort of a cool idea, but it's never been one that has a lot of staying power at DC. But he's always been a fun presence, in my opinion, especially in Justice League Dark. They need to bring that book back again. So anyway, he senses something wrong, and he passes Superman and Wonder Woman on their way to the Hall of Justice. And it's also important to note that at this time, this is still after the events of Dark Crisis. So the Justice League as we knew it is disbanded, and the Teen Titans of the Justice League. Which to me is weird and whatnot, because I wait for it. It's like Krakoa in Marvel. I'm just waiting for it to all go to pot so the Justice League can come back. But whatever. So anyway, Superman and Wonder Woman have been called to the Hall of Justice by Batman, who's like, yeah, something's going on here. So when they abandon the Hall of Justice and open up to tourists, there's still a part that's closed off. And an alarm goes off if something's really messed up, where all three of them have to be called in to get to it. It's interesting that this story also references Failsafe, which is interesting because you think it mentions other stuff too. Like, we'll find out about Supercore, so this book does acknowledge what's been going on in Superman's own book. And because nothing ever happens in Wonder Woman's book, we never talk about what's going on in Wonder Woman's book. Because, I think I've said it before, Wonder Woman's book needs a lot of work. Alright? It needs whatever. So anyway, they're going through all security systems. And Batman emphasizes again, it's near impossible to breach the security here. Like, all the security is really kept up here. So it's effectively a locked room mystery. And Deadman, who's following along, says, Look, Batman, I get you want to be all dark and gritty and serious here, but he knows Batman. He's worked with Batman. He knows for a fact that Batman is a mystery nerd. Like, you're super excited about this locked room mystery. So they go in, and it's Dr. Destiny. John D, as he's called. And like, okay, so this man is dead. Let's figure out what's going on here. At the same time, Harley calls from Arkham Tower. Yeah, so Arkham Asylum got remade into Arkham Tower during the events of Detective Comics with Mariko Tamaki, I believe it was. I still haven't read that run. It's just right there in my tablet. I'm like, I need to get to it at some point. But anyway, Harley points out that, hey, Dr. Destiny is having a violent nightmare. It's like, no, he's dead in the Hall of Justice. She's like, nope, he's right here, freaking the hell out. You might want to come look at this. I love that Harley's not in jail. She's not working for Suicide Squad. She's just not in jail. But anyway, so Deadman goes in, inhabits Batman's body because that's the only way he can communicate with people, because he doesn't have a physical form. He's legitimate ghost. So you want to talk by imprisoning people. He tries to jump into Dr. Destiny, but something's blocking him, so he goes into Batman. He's like, look, the realm of dreams, the realm of death are connected. And so whatever is happening to him in the dream is affecting him in real life. So we're probably seeing the aftermath. And Batman's trying to force it out, because, like, you know what, I don't like being possessed. He, like, spiritually vomits Deadman out. He's like, yeah, I heard the whole thing. Never do that again, Deadman. He'll do it again. So, anyway, they decided, okay, so let's, Wonder Woman's gonna go get Zatanna, because Zatanna's our magical girl on the ground. Superman's gonna go to Supercore, and Batman's gonna go to Arkham Tower to figure out what's going on here. And the whole time as they leave, one of Waller's cronies is watching. Now, we haven't seen Waller since the events of Dark Crisis. I'm sorry, Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths. And Waller had his whole, like, you know what? Screw the metahumans. Screw all this multiverse mess. I'm putting an end to it now. And then she did something with Green Arrow. At some point, we're going to find out those two boned. And the fact... But anyway. So, Zatanna... Oh, first we go to Batman investigating Arkham Tower and Dr. Destiny. And, yeah, that goes to pot. That goes to pot, as with the antagonist behind this is going through, like, dude, you ain't seen nothing yet. I'm here. I'm about to make things worse. Bloobly bloobly bloop. I'm so butchering the tension of the story. Luckily, Batman is no stranger to being forced to fall asleep. He reacted. Meanwhile, Zatanna and Wonder Woman try to investigate what's going on here. They realize that this is some really high, intense magic, but before they can find out, everyone starts to fall asleep. Zatanna is able to use her backwards magic to keep herself awake. Superman himself is then caught into the realm of sleep, I guess we're going to call it. We're going Kingdom Hearts, people. We're now in the realm of sleep. And we see a bunch of other things going on. Like, this is affecting the entire DC Earth. Alright, because we've got Deathstroke, what looks like Spider-Woman in this, but it's not. We have Joker's falling in, Hal Jordan's falling in, the Titans. It's an interesting idea to see what's going to come from this. The Night Terrors event, which is why I don't like this event. Batman, before he falls asleep, is able to trigger his heart, but, no sleep till Gotham. And I guess it, jolts his heart away, but even then, it won't last that long. He's once again in his Night Terror, which is Crime Alley, because of course it is. Deadman's able to take over his body. What? I'll keep him up. And yeah, it doesn't quite work out, because the dude grabs him. And he reveals that he is the enemy known as Insomnia. Yeah, Insomnia and I have met. We've met a lot. And that's how the comic ends. So, this is to be continued in the Night Terrors across the DCU. So, yeah. So, here's the thing. This is not a bad story. I like the idea here. We're attacking the superhero community in a place where they aren't normally prepared for their dreams. I have a problem with this because basically that's what that whole world without a Justice League was. They're stuck in this perfect world, but it's basically a dream world. So I don't quite get the point. Why is Wonder Woman on the cover of, taking center stage? She's not. No, she already had death metal. But my problem with this is all these tie-ins. First of all, this is very much a Halloween-centered story. This should have been what we did for Halloween. Why we didn't wait till then, I don't know. But also, stories like Green Lantern with Philip Kennedy Johnson and Shazam with Mark Waid are only on their second issue. So their third issue has to be about Night Terrors. So I've read some of the Night Terror issues. I don't think they're going to matter. I kind of want to skip them on principle. But if therefore it's time I'm already reading, I will have to talk about them. From what I've heard so far, people are enjoying Night Terrors. I'm not here to say it's a bad event. I'm just saying I don't like derailing stories for tie-ins that really aren't going to play a role in their actual story. All right. Now, this could be good, but there's a lot of tie-ins. Like the first week of this. What was it? This came out last week. So the week before last, the time this comes out. And I have to say, I did not like how many Night Terror books there were. Because I'm like, what if I don't care about this event? You've really wasted everyone else's time. So either they jump in, I read Shazam. The Night Terror Shazam. I'm going to tell you right now, that has nothing to do with what's going on here. Although you could argue that entire story is either Mary or Billy's nightmare about what's going on with Billy. On the Hal Jordan one, maybe I'm new. I didn't know Hal was Jewish. It's not a deal breaker for me. I just didn't know. But, yeah. Like I said, this is good, but I don't like across-the-board tie-in issues. Alright, because it forces people to read a story they weren't interested in. It forces writers to stop the flow of their story for something else. And, like I said, people who are on their third issue of their run, say you've got maybe a 7-10 issue run. Already, you've been cut down to 6 issues. That's not fair. Also, Adventure Superman Jon Kent didn't have a Night Terrors issue. Why didn't he? I don't know. Anyway, so that are our 3 books for Comic Chat. What did you think? Did you like them? Did you hate them? I'm waiting for stuff because I treated myself for Prime Day. I shouldn't have, but I did. So, yeah, that's why I want to get this out as early as possible. I still have, a bunch of other projects I'm behind on. That Huey Doing Louie video is coming. I promise. So anyway, with that in mind, brings me to close you. If you are new to the Bucket Think Tank, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, check out some of my videos, and I'll catch you all later. This is the Bucket Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching. As always, may your fandom serve you well.